Alright guys, welcome to Slashing Up the Charts. This is the third episode. I've been doing this 3 weeks now, and I've seen the videos are kind of picking up with some more views, so that's good. Okay, so this week actually Metallica has got a movie out. It's going to be in limited release, so that's the closest thing I got. Otherwise, the number one predicted film this week is easily Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2. And, yeah, I mean, what more do I have to say? There's nothing else out this weekend that's going to come close to the business that Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2 is going to do. Okay, so let's get on that. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2, it's a sequel, of course, to the first Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. It came out, what was it? October, I think, of 2010? Yeah, that sounds right, 2010. And that it grabbed up some pretty good cash, especially for an original animated flick like that. That's not a Pixar, or for today it would probably be an Illumination animation, or what was? Yeah, isn't that the name of the studio? The one that does Despicable Me, and yeah, it's Illumination, I think. Yeah. Anyways, so I think this film's actually going to open pretty big. A lot of analysts and myself are thinking it's going to push the Hotel Transylvania numbers. In other words, Hotel Transylvania, a movie that was animated, also by Sony, came out about this weekend last year, and well, that one was more aimed toward Halloween, and so that one might, I think overall, I think that one's going to have the bigger opening, even though this is a sequel. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, I think the first film, I haven't seen it, at least not all the way through. I've seen maybe bits and pieces of it. I don't think it's a kid's favorite, though. I mean, sure, it grabbed enough money to do a sequel, and it's warranted as a sequel, but I don't know. I think the family audiences are going to come out because they haven't had much, like, at all. The closest thing, of course, last week they had Wizard of Oz in 3D IMAX, and people did turn out for it. It wasn't the biggest crowd ever or anything. It's only in 300 theaters, though, so yeah, you can't necessarily blame the audiences for missing out on that one. They can't even find it. But I think this one, it's opening in just over, like 4,001, I think the number was, theaters. So that's going to be a big chance for them to open really well. Some analysts are putting this close to 50 million for the weekend. I don't think that's going to come to that. Okay, my prediction is it's kind of a little bit of a low ball compared to some. I've heard 40 million. I've heard 38. I'm going to go 42.8. I think, and some are putting it up more toward 45, which is reasonable, very reasonable. I can't say I disagree with that way too much. But the original opened at 30 million. There's no way that this film's going to open lower than that, and the chances are really, really low that it's going to open at that level or slightly higher. I think this is going to be at least a good 25% gain on that, which would put it, yeah, at least close to 40 million. So yeah, I think that's going to be the big winner this weekend. Everything else is going to be practically left in the dust. Anyways, so that's that. Okay, opening this weekend also is Rush. It's got Chris Hemsworth from Thor, who plays Thor, I should say. And it's also got David, I believe it's pronounced Brun. I think I said Brule last time. It's Brun. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Or I could have done it wrong 2 weeks in a row. I don't know. But he and Hemsworth star in this movie. It's about Formula One racing. It's directed by, of all people, Ron Howard. It certainly looks like a strange pick for him. But I'll tell you what, the ads have really got me intrigued. It's not opening at one of my local theaters. In fact, I think the number... In fact, the number is 2,297 for this weekend. Expanding, of course, it only was in 5 last week, and it didn't even then get a whole lot of attention. I think the film is gonna miss. Some people are predicting, yeah, it's gonna be the second film or the third film, or the second film rather. I think it's gonna be in a battle this week for third, and I think it's gonna lose that battle. So fourth is my prediction. The slot, anyways. Anyways, the reviews for Rush have been really, really good. I think it's like 87% on Rotten Tomatoes. So that's a pretty pretty good numbers, and of course it's an awards contender, and I think its chances right now are pretty fair, actually. I don't think Ron Howard is going to be a Best Director nominee. I don't think Hemsworth is a consideration for Best Actor. I've heard he's really good in the movie, and yeah, as Thor, he's been really good. But I don't think he's Best Actor material personally, just from seeing the commercials for this film. But I did say that Bradley Cooper was not Best Actor contender after the trailer for Silver Linings Playbook. Look how wrong I was there. So yeah, I think his chances right now are low. But David Brun, I think, has the best chance of getting a nomination out of the film. Rush could get nominated for Best Picture. Chances are right now reasonably good. But my prediction for the weekend, 11.4 million. Formula One racing just doesn't get a whole lot of audiences here in the United States. And for that reason, also the marketing has been, it's been good, but it just hasn't been very, very strong. So I think people will turn out, and of course Hemsworth is really hot right now, coming off of the Avengers, and this in a month or so, Thor is going to start opening up across Europe. So Hemsworth, I think his star power is going to continue to grow, and the smaller movies he does outside of the Marvel Universe will get some attention. And I think Rush is that film that comes just before that. So I think through the awards season, up through January, February, I think eventually Rush will get a good audience in there, and I think its overall gross will reach kind of close to maybe 50 million or so. But the opening right now, the opening weekend is it's going to be my prediction in 4th place. Okay, also opening up this weekend is Don Juan, and this is a film directed and I believe written by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and he stars in the film too. And he, is this kind of this illustrious guy who's like Don Juan. He can bag a different woman every weekend, and the only problem is he can't really hold on to one, and he's addicted to pornography. So he also works out a lot, and he works. He's with his family a lot. So one day he meets Scarlett Johansson, and it looks like she's going to be a good girl for him until she finds out about his porn, which he's kind of, he loves his porn. It's part of, as we see in the trailer, he describes his daily schedule. He includes his porn, he includes gym, he includes, all that stuff, working out. I mean, not really necessarily gym, but yeah. Of the 4 that are coming out this weekend, this is the one I'm most interested in seeing. It's not, it's only in a little over 2,000 theaters, like 2,400 some. So I don't think it's going to be. I think it's actually going to make or level out and be number 5 and finish out the top 5 for this weekend. The prediction is 9.1 million. So I think it's got. At least for me, interest in seeing it, and I think Joseph Gordon-Levitt, he's a good actor, and at this point, so far the reviews have been fairly good. It's just below 80% on Rotten Tomatoes. It started out at 100 after the really early Sundance Awards season back at the beginning of the year, but in this case, I think Don Juan has a good chance of eventually getting an audience like Rush. The only problem is it'll probably disappear from theaters before then. It's another one of those movies that could be an Oscar contender. I don't think it's going to get much love at the Academy Awards unless they get a really strong push going for, I would say probably the best bet would be original screenplay for Joseph Gordon-Levitt. Or would it be original? I don't know. Well, he could be up for a screenplay award, maybe. Best Picture and Best Director and the acting are, I think, out of the conversation on that one. But I think at least this weekend it's going to fare not so well, but people will go see it. So hopefully that's prediction 9.1. It can get at least an early audience and get to 35, maybe 40 million by the end of its run. Okay, and then there's Baggage Claim. This is the film of the 4 that I know the least about, that I've paid the least amount of attention to. The stars, it's got like Paula Patton from Mission Impossible 4. It's got a few other actors in there. I haven't seen a whole lot of ads for the film at all. No, not at all. So I think this is going to be, and it's kind of aimed at the African American, or it's kind of aimed at the black demographic, if you will. There's also another film, Best Man's Holiday, I think, that comes out in November. That's also aiming for that. Last year it was actually. Think Like a Man came out in April, and that did really well. It opened with like almost 30 million, I think it was. Yeah, it opened really, really well last April. So I think the demographic will turn out for this one. I mean, Paula Patton. I mean, especially after Mission Impossible 4, and then she was in Two Guns this last August. I think her star power is starting to go up a little bit. So her leading this one, it's got a good chance, I think, of getting an audience, and I think it will. I think it's good enough for second place, definitely, but certainly not enough to win the weekend, and I don't think it'll be enough to get to 20 million. This is only opening in 2,026 theaters, so and Don John, by the way, is in 2,422 theaters. But Baggage Claim, I think it's going to use that to its advantage and get to a 12.2. That's my prediction. 12.2 million second place weekend here, and that leaves Prisoners, the holdover from last week, I should say, that's actually going to get money this weekend, because that Battle of the Year nonsense, I don't know how that film even managed. I was way off on that one. I predicted 9, it got like 5, or maybe even less than that. Anyway, so I'm glad the dance flick, even though I have heard this week, or a couple weeks ago, whatever, that Step Up 5 is coming. I don't know why the studios put out the money. They don't get it back. Anyways, so I think Prisoners is going to be third this weekend. Anyways, so there you go. There's my predictions. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, prediction 42.8 million. And then Baggage Claim, 12.2 million. Then Prisoners with third place. I'm going to go with just under 12 million. It'll actually be, I think, a closer battle between second and third, between Prisoners and potentially Baggage Claim. And then Rush, 11.4 million in fourth place, and Don John, fifth place, 9.1 million. You'll hear the rest of my top 10 here in just a second. Okay, for the sixth spot, right now I am thinking potentially The Family for the number 6. De Niro and Michelle Pfeiffer, Tommy Lee Jones. It looks like it's actually getting a fairly nice audience. And I think it's going to hold there, and Insidious Chapter 2 is going to fall again to the 7th spot. In the 8th spot, kind of a surprise last week, was Instructions Not Included actually went up. I predicted it would be number 9. It was like number 4 or number 5. So yeah, that was a good increase there. It only went up a few theaters, and I think this weekend... Anyways, so I think Instructions Not Included will nab, what would that be, number 8. In number 9, We're the Millers. It's a comedy it's still holding on through a mid-August release till the end of September. Good numbers. It's like 100. It'll probably get to 140 million by the end of the weekend. So it's doing really well. I haven't seen it yet, and I probably won't until DVD. But that's that. And in the number 10 spot, I think we're gonna find Lee Daniels, The Butler. In the top 10, won last week. I went and saw it again actually this last weekend, and I haven't done a review for it yet because it's one of those films. The first time I saw it, I liked it, but there was just a couple of things I didn't like, and that the rating was going to be an 8. And now I saw it again, and I'm thinking maybe 7. I'm not sure yet. I'm still kind of through the week. I've just been thinking more and more about it because I had this. And I'll probably talk more about this in my review, which I am going to do this weekend. I've got some time in my schedule, because these Thursday shows, I'm kind of rushed on. Especially this one, I'm kind of rushed on today. But there's just a thing. I'll elaborate on this in the review. But it's the rare movie where after I watch it, because I'm a history buff. I like history. I like to look back and And I think, and I do kind of almost live by the words, the best way to prepare for our future is to take a look at the past and see what happened. So if you take a situation, in the current day, compare it to something from the past, and they're pretty similar. Whatever happened in the past, that's what you got to prepare for now. And I do believe in that, and sometimes, yeah, that can definitely be the case. But for me, I think it's really weird because it covers like the JFK administration, it covers the late Eisenhower days, it covers Lyndon B. Johnson, Nixon, and then it skips over. It's kind of weird. They skip over like Carter and Ford, and then they go right to Reagan, and then it's kind of weird how they do that. But anyways. Through the movie, and of course as Forrest Whitaker gets older in the movie, he plays the butler, I just started to feel old. Because, I knew the events pretty well, and they didn't really like change up anything that I could, I didn't learn anything necessarily about any presidents or not too much, because that's kind of that area, late 50s, early 60s, and then into the 70s and stuff. I know a lot of that, and then in the 80s too, I do know a lot of that, but I didn't really learn much. I didn't think the movie was going to be a history lesson by any means, but I kind of like in a movie to learn a little odd fact every once in a while, kind of like that J. Edgar movie a few years ago. I didn't learn a thing about J. Edgar I didn't already know. I knew he was, in fact a homosexual, but I wasn't, there was maybe a couple of details in there that I didn't know, but I didn't really learn anything from it, and they dramatized the rest of it and changed it up, so I can't really say that was any different, but I think The Butler was the same case. It just overall, the production quality and the script quality on The Butler was better than J. Edgar, but I just kind of felt, I just sat back and I said afterwards, I feel old. Because I was going to go see as a double feature that one and then Prisoners, which I might go see Prisoners this weekend, actually. Go out and see a movie. And I just said, I can't go see The Prisoners. I feel old. I felt really tired and decrepit and elderly. Look how old I am. I'm not that old. I mean, I'm only 60, but, But, really, I just felt terrible afterwards. I just felt like it's a weird, and the first time I saw it I kind of got that too, and I think I know the reason for it. I'll elaborate more in my review. You're getting tired of this already, I know you are. You're falling asleep on your YouTube channel, but anyways, so I'm going to recommend, if you haven't seen The Butler yet, it's a good movie. Its theater count is dropping, but certainly it's one you could maybe go and see. And by the way, when I went, there was like maybe 2 families there that had kids younger than me. Otherwise, I was the youngest person in that theater. Everybody else was like 60s, 70s. So, and I'm glad that movies like that and Lincoln are getting good audiences. And sometimes elderly people are a great demographic to get after because, elderly people and 60s, 70s people in their young days still. They go see a movie and they like it, so they bring their friends back, and they got nothing going on. There are a lot of who are retired or only work part time. They don't have much to do. They have some money from retirement plans, so they've thought their future out. They have money to go see a movie every other weekend, so they go do it. Anyway, and then they bring their friends back next time. So I like that. And Lincoln, that was definitely the case. Also just an expanding of theaters on that one. The Butler, I think it's held so well because of that. And also just because, if it gets good numbers, it's going to hold well, Unless it's a horror movie or an action movie, then those usually drop off. But if it's a drama like this, oh yeah, they'll hold really well. And that's why The Butler, which was a kind of mid-August release, has held pretty well here until the end of December and gotten over $100 million, so that's a good win for the Weinstein Company. So with that, otherwise, Spectacular Now did drop quite a couple hundred theaters last weekend, and so my heart goes out to that movie. Definitely go see it if you haven't already, and if it's playing locally, go see it. Go see it. It's a great movie. Other than that, I'm set to go see Prisoners, not The Butler again. I don't think I'm going to see that one again for a while, not till DVD anyways. And Prisoners, I'll get my my review out for that one if I see it, and I'm planning on it. So with that, otherwise the Butler, I'll get my rear in gear and finally decide if I'm going to go 7 or 8 on it, and then I'll get my review of that done. And other than that, I'll run down my top 5 again. Number 1, Cloud of the Chance of Meatballs, $42.8 million. Number 2, Baggage Claim, $12.2. The Prisoner, number 3, Prisoners, almost $12 million. I'm kind of undecided between. It's going to be anywhere between $12 million and maybe 11.5, maybe a little higher too if it holds well. And number 4, Rush, $11.4 million. Don John, number 5, $9.1. And with that, thank you for watching, guys. I don't really do that with these series, sorry, but I do this. Adieu.